Welcome to Not for Pieters. I'm John Dougal. Today we're going to look at the traits of a high value woman. Now, for starters, we ought to say, well, what do we mean by high value? And the term high value is getting bandied about quite a bit lately, but it pertains to relationships. And in relationships, the definition of high value belongs to the opposite sex. Women set the value of men, and men set the value of women, and we definitely do not set our own value. With that understanding, it should be clear that a high-value man is not going to dance like a marionette to a woman's opinion of herself. Her opinion of herself is not going to change the observations of a high-value man. And sure, if she's really cute and she's provocatively dressed, some run-of-the-mill guy will get all enamored. But that's not a guy that she's going to want. And a guy who's about his business, who has his life in order, who knows what he's doing, and from the standpoint of relationship, he's going to look for more substance than just an attitude and tight clothing. Because dating and relationships are about a trade. It's about what I have to offer versus what you have to offer. And it seems like we've lost track of that. The dating experience that I had, most single women are great at creating long lists of criteria of the man that they want, but they seldom put much thought into what they themselves offer. And if a desirable guy were to ask, a woman, well, what do you have to offer a man? The most invariable answer would be, well, me. Well, what does that answer say? It's either she hasn't thought about it enough and thought about what a high value man would want, or worse, she doesn't care what a high value man wants. She only cares what she wants, and that's the only thing she's given any thought to. So the answer, well, he gets me, that's a red flag to a high quality man, because such a woman has demonstrated that she doesn't really have an understanding of what sets, one cute woman apart from another. There used to be a saying, it was very common, and I haven't heard it in decades. Behind every successful man is a good woman. I don't know what happened to the saying. Maybe it was a saying of the generation before me, and now they've all died. But it still holds true. You find any guy with a great family, a great deal of success, who's admired by other men, who's known in his community, is sociable, and all those sorts of things. And if he's got this great family, then I guarantee you, he's not fighting with some contentious woman. He's got a good woman in his life. A high-value man chooses wisely, and he chooses a woman who will be a teammate and a partner, the love of his life. She'll be supportive, and she'll help him build the life and the family that he wants. Well, let's take a look at some wisdom quotes and see what the characteristics are for a high-quality, high-value woman. The first place we're going to look is Proverbs 31. It's a verse that I wouldn't say exactly women groan over, but they don't like to spend a lot of time on in church. And because it's a high standard, and most women know they don't measure up. But, Proverbs 31 describes a high-value woman, so I've taken some bits and pieces of it that kind of hit the salient points, so we won't cover the whole chapter. So we'll look at a few verses here or there. The proverb starts off, the sayings of King Lemuel, an inspired utterance his mother taught him. Well, that ought to get our attention straight away. The mother of the king taught her son these lessons and what it takes to be a high-value woman. So his mother is an older, wiser woman who, through her experience, crafted this proverb and gave it to her high-value son, the king. She knows what works in relationships and what doesn't work, so here it is. Listen, my son, listen, son of my womb. Listen, my son, the answer to my prayers. Do not spend your strength on women, your vigor on those who ruin kings. Well, this is an admonition against womanizing, and especially womanizing with low-value women. And the reason for it is that these kind of women can ruin a king's life, a high-value man's life. And it's very easy to have your life derailed by the wrong woman. A wife of noble character who can find? She is worth far more than rubies. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. In other words, her good character will be consistent and align with her good actions, and she'll remain that way over her whole life. Well, she sets about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for her tasks. She sees that her trading is profitable, and her lamp does not go out at night. When it snows, she has no fear for her household, for all of them are clothed in scarlet. In other words, she's the partner who joins in on the work that aligns with the vision and the life direction that a high-value man has set. She's not idle. She's not the kind of woman who wants to marry a high-value man just so that she can live the easy life. She's not going to be marrying him, for bragging rights with her girlfriends that, hey, I one upped you. She's going to marry the man for who he is and what he'll continue to be, and for the vision that he's set for the future. And she wants to join in on the work and the responsibility and the adventure. Additionally, she's not prone to worrying. She's not ruled by fears. Seasons change, troubles come. Everybody gets a measure of it. And when it does, she's okay with that because she doesn't have fear for her household. Well, charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Honor her for all her hands have done, and let her works bring her praise at the city gates. Well, a high-value man knows that a woman's beauty will fade, and he wants more than just a fading beauty. I don't know any guy that's going to just suddenly get all gung-ho over a dog. That's just not in the nature of a man. But, women, if they put forth some effort, are beautiful, and a woman who fears the Lord and who works to try to do the right things, is productive, and her actions are worthy of a man's praise, is to be highly valued. The high-value man wants a partner in life, not extra baggage and weight that he has to carry and drag along. And so, a guy like King Lemuel, a high-value guy, is going to know this. He's been deliberate his whole life, and so he's not going to pick a woman that's not going to match up with his value. Okay, let's look at another, Ephesians 5:33. Each one of you also must love his wife as he loved himself, and the wife must respect her husband. Well, that's really interesting. You'd think that it would be husbands love your wives, wives love your husbands. But the commandment here is to respect the husband. And that ought to beg the question, well, why? Well, the word respect, this was the New International Version, and in the King James it's reverence. Either way, it means to venerate, to treat with deference, or to treat with reverential obedience. Man, that ought to really chap the feminists. But the idea here is, if this guy is really about his business and he's charting the course for the family, for everybody's interest, all members, then why wouldn't you respect that? And knowing that he's going to take everybody into consideration, why wouldn't a woman say, hey, I trust you and I'll submit to you, knowing that if he errs, it's on him to fix it. Well, you know, that's kind of how things are, and a guy who's a great leader is worth following. You know, when I was growing up, yeah, call it the luck of the draw, but I had great friends and their families were great, and you could see this kind of behavior in everybody that I knew. Typically, the best car in the family was driven by the wife, and the guy would drive some older car. It'd be reliable, but it'd be definitely a step down, and he was fine with that, because he said, hey, I'll be fine with this. It does what I want it to do, and I want the wife and the kids and all that to have the peace of mind of knowing that they've got a nice car, that it's and that kind of a thing. Well, the point is that these men put family first, and why wouldn't a woman respect that and want to follow that kind of leadership? Will every man love perfectly? And no. Is every woman going to respect perfectly? No. But a good woman will choose her husband wisely, and her husband's going to get things far more often right than wrong, and she'll know that when he errs, he takes the responsibility to fix it. So, a good woman is a woman who's a team member who can follow leadership. Okay, let's look at Luke chapter 2. Before I read this one, let's just kind of lay out some of the context. This is a story about Jesus when he was a boy. He's 12 years old, and every year Jesus' parents went to Jerusalem for the festival of the Passover. And they'd travel from their hometown to Jerusalem, undoubtedly along with other Jewish families doing the same thing. Well, after this particular festival was over, these families are all returning back home, together, and they discover, hey, where's Jesus? He's not around. And so they go back to find him. And Jesus says, why were you searching for me? He asked. Didn't you know I had to be in my Father's house? But they didn't understand what he was saying to them. Then he went down to Nazareth, their hometown, with them and was obedient to them. But his mother treasured all these things in her heart. And that's the part that I want to emphasize, the mother treasuring all these things in her heart. When a good woman has a family, she absolutely treasures her children and the moments. And a high-value man looks for that kind of nurturing behavior, highly feminine characteristics. And a woman who will look to the needs of the children and cherish them, cherish all these moments. My sister and I once asked our mother, when our mother was close to the end of her life, what was the best time of her life? What did she enjoy most? And without hesitation, she responded, when you were little, I loved being a young mother. Well, when a good woman becomes a good mother, there's almost like this angelic trajectory that takes place, because she does treasure all the little moments, and she just pours herself into her family and into the children. It's like she's found her highest purpose. It's definitely a transformation, and a big part of that transformation is shedding of selfishness and then embracing selflessness, because little kids, little children, they need a lot of oversight, and you can't do a good job unless you are selfless and self-sacrificing. And so in essence, what happens with this transition is the woman's love becomes more than feelings and emotions, and it becomes action, consistent action. And a mother finds meaning in that responsibility, and she finds joy in being helpful. Okay, let's look at another verse, and this kind of bolsters that last one, and it's in 1 Timothy chapter 2. It's a bit controversial, and I have a different take on this than most theologians, or I shouldn't say most, many. But women will be saved through childbearing if they continue in faith, love, and holiness with propriety. There's many theologians out there that look, oh, saved, that must be salvation. You know, they see that word saved. And I don't believe it says that at all. I think it's saved from something else, you know, not saved from the judgment to come, but saved from a selfish nature prior to when the children came. And childbearing saves a woman's life from that kind of a selfish, you know, life, or at least it should. And a young mother should have learned this, you know, more than any other time she's learned to be selfless, because a child needs a selfless mother. Okay, so if we were to just summarize all these things, you know, men set the value of women, including a high value woman. And a high value woman is a woman of good character. She's trustworthy, dependable. She's industrious. You know, she's going to pick a higher value guy, not so she can live lazily and in comfort, but so she can join in on the vision that the high value man has set. Women are more prone to negative emotion than men, so fear, insecurity, anger, anxiety, these things are far more common. But the high value woman has learned to check her fear and insecurity, and she knows that if they come, these feelings are her responsibility, and she'll not push those feelings onto somebody else like her husband. She's more than just beautiful, because beauty fades. And a high value woman is respectful. When she picks a man she can trust to set the course for their lives, and she'll respect him. A high value woman is feminine. She understands the power and wonder of femininity, and she will be a good mother. She's a nurturer, and her feminine strength spreads beyond just her family and her children. You know, her husband sees it, and friends and community will see it, and that's kind of what she's all about. And for the women out there, I hope that you can become a good match for a high value man, just as I hope that the men out there strive to become the best version of themselves. That's what this channel is about, becoming the best. Till next time, cheers.